Mr. Conte. Nka bolo kol kan sai na so kono mano banta jabo banta tulo ban. Sai ka bolo kol kan anda ka ba office ko na badama bulo mutarin ba ka ta funtila no. Ko mbato ngane ta ya puriye ma ko do bandi ngata mano sani tulo ni jam.
Munda, bete ni la buro da man balwo service kalam.
Mun service?
Balwo service.
Ni da furonte mo kalam.
Munda, afela buro da ko. Abitala internet all. Aya ba search la woldo. balwo.com. Na wo saje a apu nga ba download la telephone lo. Na be sandiro to ni wal. Na be sidin ala office ko ndama manjar pura ta bank. Ko kodoki. Abe sidin office ko da minto. Ito message so telephone ko no. E biti ko be Gambia dawda biti ko ba bele. Ko ta tano dawda yeta fenko tawo. Wodama.
Yala balwo service na ta mo da hannu. Mata nyo le kan fija na bro dan ka ko. Ayo ko fija.
Balwo service dinkirala jampo wo manken na kolaya ko balwo service al demano kaje ko ale do mor feŋol sang alla dimbaya mole ana lakkanun tewol wato bela ani wat sudum fanan kono balwo service la dinkiralu ani la do kunyolu e be banko karo beto kabirin katon fo koyna nalla fa ko ku koton so balwo service la kolto ali commandi telephone la no la milbuko 9400213 7694319 wala 3192870 wala hankabi alta internet oto alila kolu jibe www.baluwo.com.
Agada
ke mbijan no aga nyaade
albaka
mbaka important
yo nga transfer la sto
ya transfer la
ha code nyinji
okay important nsila id soto
ha sa soto sorry agada
mbijan bro
albaka
mbaka
bara alla service o tariya
mbare
mo ki janna nun kunu bara tariya
jannom yona forest de bureau Gambia tonkon na no mbari ya bere birin koyna fo kato
bari si kodo kino kato nim fo bolong labe
56 branches mola soto Gambia ja
ha
Gambia kono ani Gambia bantala bankol nko kodo kiya bere kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta memmen na kodi to poto nin kodi maraw jannom number 1 di nyonta andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale wolam nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale de dadi man domorol di fana beteat Gambia dawda yalo ngam fa kendol sotale je
wo moyo diat
apelen da
barka ni ma lafta nyelan kendol e binaji
yalo bu kanyi la ko la barka ba
yalo ndel ciosano lo
barka.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome all of you this afternoon to a media engagement. I'd like to thank Fatmata for opening remarks. I am going to deliver an opening statement. This statement will be given to all of you. You will all have a copy of the statement before leaving here, so that you can concentrate on the listening and formulating your questions. So the statement will be circulated to every media outfit present here. You will have the physical copy of the statement that I'm reading. I prepared a statement because we should have a framework within which things are contained, because this press engagement is not going to be more than an hour. There are several activities, and so we will make sure that we confine ourselves to that. Fellow Gambians, today I speak to you not just as a politician, but as a man who has lived and nearly died for the ideals of freedom, justice, and inclusive development. My journey has been one of pain, sacrifice, an unyielding commitment to this nation. From my teenage years as a student union leader, through the dark days of dictatorship, where I endured arrest, torture, and an assassination attempt on my life, that left me with broken bones, a fractured neck, and 2 agonizing years of recovery in Senegal and in Germany. I still remember the cold floor of the NIA cells, the brutality of those who perceived my voice and work a serious threat as a human rights lawyer defending victims. And some nights I wondered if I would live to see a free Gambia. However, even in that acute suffering, I made a vow never to relent until dictatorship was buried and true democracy restored. From my hospital bed, I crawled to meetings across Europe and Africa, leaning on crutches, rallying the world to isolate the dictatorship and building international consensus to end dictatorship. I returned home in 2011 and again in 2016, despite death threats and the attempted assassination that left me in hospital for 2 years. Campaigning to stand firm with the United Democratic Party and other patriots under an alliance platform, campaigning across this country to end tyranny through the ballot. And in 2016, we triumphed, not with bullets, but with the votes. Today, the Gambia is free. Our governance space is now ranked among the most open in the world. Yet freedom alone does not feed the hungry. Freedom alone does not educate our children. Freedom alone does not heal the sick. And freedom alone does not create jobs or grow the economy. What lies ahead is the harder task of building a Gambia of shared prosperity where no one is left behind. Since the fall of the dictatorship, this government, in all honesty, regardless of where you stand on the political divide, has delivered the most ambitious infrastructure transformation in our nation's 60-year history. Achievements that were once deemed impossible. Hundreds of kilometers of new roads, including critical highways and rural access roads, now connect farmers to markets, students to schools, and businesses to customers. The iconic Samba Juma Bridge at Basse Kerewan Badala crossings in the Upper River region and other key infrastructure projects have reduced travel time, boosted trade, and opened up communities once cut off from development. Thousands of new classrooms have been built across the country, ensuring that our children no longer land on the trees or in crumbling structures. This is not just about buildings. It is about investing in the minds that will lead the Gambia's future. New clinics and refurbished hospitals mean that Gambians no longer have to travel miles for basic care. Maternal mortality is declining and more lives are being saved because healthcare is finally reaching the people. For the first time since independence, thousands of rural Gambians have electricity in their homes, a fundamental game changer. The expansion of urban and rural electrification, including investments in green technology, such as the one in Jambur, and the 150 megawatt that is being built at Soma, is powering businesses, schools, and homes, breaking the cycle of darkness that helped progress for generations. What makes these achievements, what makes them even more remarkable, is that many were financed through domestic resource mobilization, a proof that when governance is transparent and accountable, the Gambia can fund its own development. Infrastructure is not just about concrete and steel. It's about liberating human capital. A farmer in Soto Masire should be able to get his produce to the market in hours, not days, earning more profitability for his family. a student in Kantora, should no longer walk miles to school. She now learns in a proper classroom with electricity, giving her a fair chance to compete in the modern world. A mother in Jara should be able to give birth in a clinic with proper equipment. A small trader in Berending should be able to keep her stall open longer thanks to reliable electricity, increasing her income and lifting her family out of poverty. This is real economic transformation, not just GDP numbers, but tangible change in the lives of ordinary Gambians. Yet, we are not blind to the struggles our people face, such as rising prices, bureaucratic inefficiency, corruption, and slow reforms. These are not new. They are the legacy problems from decades of misrule. Reforms after dictatorship do take time. They cannot be rushed, but neither can they be ignored. The government has shown some commitment to tackling these issues, and I pledge to continue advocating for stronger institutions, transparent procurement processes, and efficient governance. We will continue to push for deeper reforms, but we must also be patient because nation building is not a marathon. Nation building is a marathon and not a sprint. Nation building is a marathon and not a sprint. I stand firmly behind His Excellency President Adam Barrow, not out of blind loyalty, but because his vision aligns with our shared goals for the Gambia, particularly infrastructure and intrusive rural development. My support is for the nation first, last, and always. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, distinguished colleagues and fellow citizens, today we gather not merely to address the issues of the day, but to reaffirm our commitment to the ideals that bind us together as a nation. This press conference is not just another event, it is an opportunity to rise above the noise and distractions and to focus on what truly matters: the unity, progress, and prosperity of our beloved country. National unity is not a luxury. It is an imperative. It is the foundation upon which we build our dreams, the glue that holds our diverse society together, and the beacon that guides us through the challenges we face. In these times when the polity is at risk of overheating, we must be the voices. We must be the voices of reason, the champions of dialogue, and the architects of solutions. We must resist the temptation to engage in toxic politics of insult and acrimony, and instead elevate the discourse to one of ideas, policies, and vision. Excessive partisanship and relentless division serve no one but those who thrive on division. They weaken the fabric of our society, distract us from the real issues, and undermine the trust that is essential for effective governance. Let us be clear, the strength of our campaigns, our leadership, and our vision lies not in tearing others down, but in building a future that uplifts all. Let us focus on the sublime, on the goals that unite us, and on the aspirations that inspire us. This is the realm where negativity cannot compete, and where the politics of division will always fall short. It is impractical, indeed impossible, for any political leader to work effectively within groups that persist in malicious verbal attacks, invectives, and contempt. Such behavior creates an environment of hostility and disrespect that drives away potential allies and undermines the very collaboration needed for progress. Numbers matter in politics, and only amateur politicians would dismiss any political grouping as small or insignificant. Every voice, every vote, every contribution has the potential to shape the outcome of our collective efforts and indeed for victory. Every voice, every vote counts. Even those labeled small, that small can make a significant difference in an election that is heavily contested. It is important not to drive away potential allies through toxic politics, because you might end up drawing them into the hands of those you may not like. To treat any group with disdain is to underestimate the power of unity and momentum that can be built when these groups find refuge in the welcoming hands of your adversaries. It is a mistake that no seasoned leader should make. Instead, let us foster an environment of respect, dialogue, and inclusivity, or inclusion, an environment where even the smallest voices feel heard, valued, and empowered to contribute to the greater good. Ladies and gentlemen, let us rise above the distractions. Let us reject the politics of division and embrace the politics of unity. Let us focus on ideas and policies that will drive our nation forward. And let us work tirelessly to ensure that our vision for progress is realized. Together, we can build a future that is not only brighter, but also stronger, a future that reflects the best of who we are as a people. I'll invite your questions from now onwards, but only those questions that advance our national discourse. I will not, and I repeat, I will not entertain personalized questions about me or my family, nor will I engage in toxic politics targeting other parties or their leaders. Our focus must remain on policy, progress, and patriotism. Thank you all. Announce your name, the media, yes. The media you come from, and your question.
Press conference. You talk about agriculture. You talk about national development within the village, the town of Honda. Fine. Jana kena fana yung bangko kan akapo ya. Nyaji be kabun kan so lo mo. Ino so somebody, but that's not equipment that in the example ni be gero babo. Iman kenya. Kita also mi kero rek ni lan lalam. But jana kena fana yung bangko kan jana. Amat rakit. Neko question bolo amazon yasin bolo.
Mr. Fati. Ana nyinin karo ke nila hekatu do hekatu ila nyinin karo ke bari be speech le dikam say nyinin karo ke be statement do le ke kam mbela fila mo le nyinin karo ke ni me lafta statement ke le ha isa nyinin ka bari nyinin karo ke kana question ke kana statement ke don't give a speech.
Okay, that's fine. Okay,
thank you.
Nyani ben central ma ko wuli ma ko ani kana pasema dana kana panna amanta kan de ma nyaaji be ka bo woni kana passe ka bata ba so ni ko maralo ko men ya kada ba ka je ko jara kana ka panna yi woni asmol be ha ko be ta
mune muy lañu ni karoti
dañu ko na jara kana bunda ma ko ka nya
ha be ko mo le fokan sa ila ñu ni karo ke sila ñinin ka ha hani ibe kuma kan ko jara kenda bunda man ha iko jara kenda ha iko jara kenda bunda man tara betari ha okay ngale ko momele say munam ñinin karoti
ni ka taw ñali après jonda baro mo sukuna e ba mu nekk no kan ko jara na fana banko kan ata anya
hani man jon baro la masakunda ka tunde man tara masakunda mo be yalo ne ko man tara masakunda menna do hudlare so menketa wolum na patio GMC wala ning baro la patio NPP kafuta bari mantara masakunda atol be yalo ne kon to mantara masakunda na patio tata nga alan so le ke bewle to jada kunda bunda to nya falindiro ketale baro la taro anim bitema ngamira sanji sey mo le to sanji kononto kabiri baro nata o sanji sey kono la at least sanji sababe je me yalo tol be fana ngaddo ko ke anim patio membe be coalition kono a benene do ko ke o kono le so baro damala do ko kono sa fono nyin sanji seyo sanji kan do ko sanji lulam waaw sanji lulo nyin kono fanan kato do man dinketale katu jannin tol binala ya jame sanji mon anim fula ayole kije sarore jawra e sanji tan saba nyong le kije o sanji tan sabo anin sanji mo o beta sanji tal lulu anim fula o sanji tal lulu anim fula tema men keta jada kende ala bundala ala faram fanso anin ka anala futo banko karo mumé bela anin men keta baro la nyin adamala masakunda sanji lulo kono ne la balanso kay bajala sanji lulo nyine siatati lo tanol mel lota asiyata lopital mu wanti clinical meni alon ko ide da kuta an meni alon ko ibe da kan lopitani saba nani lulu meni alon ko be dadaro be ke kam bi refurbishment be ke kam arbitrage be wolle kono la tumo men na jawara bijang ndol be ngalon ko bolomba kono la ikadang bansan damande ni be woto ina bandul ya jamme kato ke ay do mandinke woltema sa mbeta momento baro fana nafta nata ay lopitano lo meni alon ko ikafuta bar hani bi on sonta ko jada kende abunda abe lamfuri mbake nyim banko kan andung mota fono la ko jada kende abunda e atimmatale asabritale mobe fana nyanda kontan la ko la molbe fa kan e jangaro la mini alon ko imanyan nakafa musobe wulu kan dulalto mini alon ko e akoleate bulu fodol katu tingoto andung e borol fana bukasodo lutano fanato nyimbe mu kulet mini alon ko to nyalamu mota kelo keno la nin tonya be lori wonin ki tonya buka keleno so Mr. Fati nyimbe mu ku soto neti nsonta nyilale biko ndabuka balang tonya la muka tonya nakari bari ko kato fana keta o fana mu tonya la ti nyando sonna walale bari abebu kano sinya killing le temps banku mantar kering ning Afrika kono dunia kono la dami yalon ko menyo be ke kanjang anyo buka ke wolto bari o man nyanda kela e ndole daliloti ka foko bari abe ke kan Gambia so nyanda wosla walale man so ko na nyantale be kato menna ye tewsi di kendeke e jada kende abunda e ya yirwandi membita boro la karola membita docteur la karola membita joran la karola ndol dunde alanso konole pour que mako roke kabaro sembentu yandi o besotna lon nyaadile bari yeto nyaale foko hani bi jada kende am bundalati sulo bijele bari to nyaale fana muko jada bunda kende abunda kabirim barona da fokana bila falindiri jamale fana keta je adun dulale ko e satol sorta anin tundol sorta nyim banko kan min yalon ko inena man clinique soto inena man jada kende abunda soto hol biya soto le bi men tuta je wala tokar kendolti anin jaral jorangolu anin boro soto nyaalu wallam ko min yalon ko man sakunda nyanta ka nyatini wo karola andung mfana mbekato ngumbe bekala fo man sakunda sa nyatini no mbenga deng nyatini no kasolo nyamenna an banko fana nak fanko danta jami bro sikenole ñina mun na jabiro to ital karo can you have another question? No, more. Yes, you are?
Good afternoon. My name is Mamute, and I am working with Paradise TV.
Paradise TV.
Yes, so I have two questions.
You will ask one question, and then we'll go to the next until the turn is over. We give everybody a chance.
All right, so let me give the second question a try.
Yes.
My question is, like in all your speech, you have been mentioning some of the achievements you have made, and then some of the achievements that it is achieved by the government of the Gambia. So, but like, I was really thinking for you to talk about the Constitution of the Gambia, which is being discussed almost by every mouth currently. So, are you working as a human rights advocate? Are you working that the Gambia, are you doing some efforts in making sure that the Gambia have the Constitution it deserves? Since both the two constitutions, which is the 2020 draft and the 2024 draft, are not being, implemented as, are not being voted as the current constitution of the Gambia. What is your take on that?
Yo, abarika baki Mr. Bitey. Mbe jabila angale kanko. Bare mbe afala mandi ka kanko foro. Yeji ngaro menke wala banko la marli kitabu kuto. Me yalon ko abe kata kan ñu wato la anu akata ñu fanana ma kan warta bake. E ko ndebe katu jumaare ke ka woto pour ka je ko mo lafta min na woyke. Folo nsini tan diko tumo men na Constitutional Review Commission nying yela doko bang foka pare ye marli kitabo mi alon ko ya ngania wala nyanda tala National Assembly pour ayke banko la marli ko kitaboti mi alon wala munna Third Republic te kafo sama somandale a nyanda tala député bungoto bi wularo lota ndiam ta gambe di mumé beye fo nyaajo bota o ñaaji bo ñing kono la doli ake tulungoti dol be ngi awase ala politiko kono la bari mune wono kantum mo jama be wuri kan membe kerim bi kabri ngambe a fansoto kabo ya jamela marle jaw bulula mo jama be diamu kan mo jama opportunité be kumol fo kan o fansoto ñing wala yatinna waketa bari o fansoto nyin kono la o kelo kono la sanji jama ntol niyo be na tulaje kadu ndem felenti e kato kelal pour kam fa yen singul katile ngen kawon kati ndata exile naraje ko million tang ani woro 116 million wala dun tan constitution kono la ngaje ko politiko be na kanje ngamira kato men kita mol min yalon ko e nyoto tan kuoto e be nawo kala politiko ti wala en tora fo mamu nyano nyaaji obota adu nyaaji boñu mu kayra balete kadu banko la sulo wala mbulala woto ngo appeal men ko wato kono pour député bungulo bari ntemang député soto national assembly albe wolonde bari so sembo man ndemay fadi kunkilu man sembo soto pour national assembly nyanta banko la nganyo tamandila nyamen o sembo man trambulu parti fula wolle sembo soto national assembly bake o parti fulolu nyen diamo nyanta tala wolle ya kadu wolle sa keno ayke wolle sa keno atakela ndeta danta diamo lela bari ka kebaro ke ka katoke o parti wolle mini alon ko wolle national assembly member sol soto so ali muru wol kan ali wol nyin ka foye gambia kanu fodi man gambia kanu natare gambia kanu itol meye sembo soto ka falindiro ke nyin koto itol ya ke ndema o sembo soto ka dum man député soto so parliamentary parties those are the ones who are entitled to ensure that the constitution is passed or not passed in any form, shape, or one order. But my appeal is that they should all consider the national interest. Mo base bankola nafa jube ni marle kitab kuto koto. Mbe o kelo lela, mbe kontine la kaw diamo le DB, mbe mo be fana jamar la alsimuru patiol kan patiol min yalon ko wolle sembo sur national assembly. Kadu ndem am patiol soto mbe national assembly kono. Allah baraka.
Can you please summarize it in English, please? I can't speak my English.
Essentially, what I'm saying is, I have advocated for the will of the people be reflected in the draft constitution. And on the eve of the passage of the proposal to pass the initial draft, I addressed the nation. I addressed the nation on the imperative, the historic imperative, that members of parliament should look at the national interest and forego their political allegiances. Because a lot of blood was shed in order to bring about a third republic. I was among the people whose life was nearly lost in the fight for dictatorship. I indicated an assassination attempt left me with bones and fractured neck, and over 2 years of excruciating pain in hospitals in Senegal and Europe. So I am a veteran of the liberation struggle. I have battle scars to show how I fought for this country, along with other brave Gambians, some of whom are not alive today. So when we see politics taking precedence over national interests in the passage of a new draft constitution, it hurts me, it pains me to a point where I could not bear it, and I shed some tears. And I will continue to shed those tears as long as people who have the authority to make the changes in National Assembly continue to neglect their national obligation. My party does not have any National Assembly member in our parliament today. So it is for parliamentary political parties who are represented in National Assembly to either perform the aspirations of the people into reality or abdicate their responsibilities. And it is for you citizens to ensure that those parties who have the ability and the power either to pass it or to fail it. So if it fails, it will be the liability of those who are in the National Assembly, because they have the voice, they have the vote and the power to make it happen or not. So every government should know who are playing politics with this constitution. You all know. And I'm going to say that, of course, the president has made effort. He has opened the doors open, and is very flexible to discussions. I think all other players should be very flexible and open to discuss so that we can have a new constitution. But we cannot have everything. Everybody cannot have everything you want in this constitution. Constitution building is a compromise. You accept some, you leave some. So we must be reasonable to understand that the draft as was presented cannot be the outcome of a new constitution. But finally, I believe that, in fact, the National Assembly should not have the authority to decide whether we have a new constitution or not. It should go to the public and let the voters vote on a plebiscite, because it's a referendum that should determine the emergence of a new constitution. But parliamentarians are appropriating that that sovereign responsibility which belongs to the people to themselves. We need to change that trajectory. Thank you. Yes. Follow. Ye mistake ko leke. Ntema fo mbe baro la advice ala mbota je because baro buka yamaro muta. Mbe bala je lungo menna. Nga dunia bele kili media bebi jele ker faru fana bi jele wolungo. Hotel auto. Kaitan di Gambia dingul la munati na mberi zain kam. Na kumo kono la mafo baro buka yamaro muta. Na bi je afintindi. Bari mawfo. Ngole I do not feel challenged and I do not feel useful in the role. Ngawale fo. Woning baro buka yamaro muta manke kilinte de mo intela de. Mawo fo mu itela la kumoti, itela la miral kumo. Na kumo itela ya franfansi won, itela ya afasari wonyama. Bari kumo mamonte da kono mu itela kumolete. Bari fola nyango. Nsa fo fanan mbe na strategic meeting la baro ne ala alliance molu. Ha ndele ngafo, nko baro la wino. Wonyande kala by force no mem man ka ko fo kay te dum man ka dingolati. Men man man ko moy tuma don salo non siwol forgive nole. Bari man ka kaw heka yela nyinin karo ke say batu ngeja biroke. Man ni ka kawo mol ka fole ko ñing mbaaje la ko ngafa bari ñu mbekkelale bari yalla imam bare fala ni koy be fala wallahi ni borita hani fo ñote soto la ñing anin sayale kañantagne bari yalla ni sayana ray be borilalde ite mo man ni ka diw nam man ni ka ko te ya fahamule ni e ko te kala o be kala jaw yalla bari man ni ka kawo ngawole fo ayo hekatu so ngamen fo ro ngafo man ni ka kawo le to ndung man ni kol ka diamu ñamen na idioms na expression olu na cultural innuendos and na cultural nuances ngafo wole kono ndele nga diamo nyim fo man nimisa ni sasa diamo nyi kan ko den ko ndele ngafo fanan andu nga man nimisa ndele ngafo bari ngafo dalilo men kamma man ninka kamoyla ni man ninka dum be yalonne men ben nak mo falina yake jawyati sako man ninka dingolu wende bala fa bake kadu ndol be kale foko kafele ko nying anin saale be kanyandante nying ani mbe falale bari nyinde kela nda be ngaw jele hani angelol ka fole over my dead body, but it will never be over your dead body because when death comes you run away be ngaw kala mutale surwal wal ka fodi na har sama tank tubey way li du am way musulo har sa tank tubey do ko har so ali nga ni nafike ya bula ali nga ni jawja bula so be ngalo nako na kango our language are very rich but bari ni ko ma fota dorong ni tamira ay la patiole ma o ite da men favor yo ko man dingota ya warandi amon futa dame ya fitno wulindi banko kan o manke na politiko di ngeja bi len ndung adanta woleto. Anybody else? Any other question? Yes, thank you.
Yes, my name is Alunjalo. I work for the Fatu Network.
Huh.
We have one or two questions, but
Well, ask one. If there's nobody else, we'll come back to you.
now from your vantage point as former minister, what would you say are the most pressing governance failures of the current administration that needs urgent attention?
Well, yes, I agree with you. There are so many challenges. I don't know whether they're failures or non-failures, but I know we have several governance issues that we need to focus on. One, we need to have a very robust economic policy, that deals with the inflation, rising inflation. There's a lot of price increases, we know that. But some of the reasons for those price increases are also that we are not a productivity center. For example, even vegetables. Vegetables that we consume at home, most of it coming from Casamance and Senegal. I mean, that is not forgivable. Who is responsible for the rise in the cost of vegetables? We have the soil, we have the land, but yet we are importing vegetables. So vegetables are not bought in Dallas, they are bought in the CFA. When CFA goes up, the women who go to Senegal to purchase those vegetables are going to increase their prices together with transportation and other things. So food inflation is here. Food inflation is domestically driven, but it is also influenced by external factors, some of which are self-induced. But there's a challenge there because government also ought to promote a very successful and robust horticultural policy. In other words, agricultural food sufficiency policy. That is necessary. The other area that we need to focus more on is in the area of corruption. The perception of corruption is great. So many Gambians feel that government is not delivering service in terms of procurement. So this is an area where we need transparent procurement process so that Gambians can feel that every dalasi, every butut that is spent in the performance government delivery is going where it belongs, so that poverty will be fought at the root, and we can deal with the root cause of poverty. We need to really resolve the issue of concerns dealing with procurement. The other issue we need to deal with is the matter of efficiency, general government service delivery. Many Gambians have this experience that government delivery service is not performing to expectations. Whether this is rightly or wrongly, government ought to take this criticism seriously and focus on efficient and effective service delivery so that government will feel that government is functioning. They have a working government. That is an area in which we need to focus on. The other area we have to expedite is the area of reforms, particularly institutional reforms. We inherited a legacy problem. During the dictatorship, all our institutions were politicized, they were destroyed. 22 years of systematic destruction of institutions. Now we need to rebuild. We need to restore the mandate, the true mandate of institutions back to them. Institutional strengthening, building strong institutions that are politically unbiased, that are intended to serve the basic needs of Gambian people is a prerequisite to sustainable development. We need a functioning, a competent, and an efficient civil service, public sector that will deliver to people's expectations. All these are challenges that we need to do. We have a security service that still mimics some of the legacies of the past. But it is not to say nothing is being done. Something is being done, just that people are not in agreement as to the pace of it. Some feel the pace is very slow, others feel much has been achieved. But I believe that government has not been communicating effectively on its successes. So there is the perception that nothing is happening in all of these areas. But with the new Mansakunda that has been initiated, I think the nation is now being thoroughly informed about some of the progress in these areas so that we can eliminate some of the misunderstandings. But there are deep challenges, deep-seated development challenges, very serious concerns that we ought to focus on, but that is not the reason enough to say you cannot work with the government, because all governments in the world are facing challenges. So because your government is facing a challenge, becomes a taboo to work with your government. That is not correct. We do not believe in extremist politics. We believe that the Gambia government belongs to the Gambian people, and everybody has a right to contribute towards national development with your ideas and any other form. Even if you are an opposition party leader or a member of the opposition, you still have a responsibility and a stake in Gambia's national development. You should not be celebrating when things go wrong. You should have a source of concern when things go wrong. Because celebrating failures of government is celebrating failure of people, failure of a country. And that is not citizenship, that is not patriotism, that is extremism. Thank you.
Now, a follow-up question to that. You made mention of corruption as one of the biggest challenges that this government is actually currently going through. How would you rate the current government in their approach to actually fighting corruption? Do you think there's a genuine political will to fight corruption at the highest level?
Well, I think there is political will. The question is to what degree is where we will differ. Some say there is absolutely none. Some say there is some political will. And some say there's nothing. But you see, how would you judge government's commitment to corruption, political will? Is it because the public is crying that every allegation is not the case? And I'm going to give my own example. When I was at the Ministry of Interior and I was relieved of my cabinet responsibility as minister, you know, there is these negative people. They raise all kind of presumptions that I received a bribe from Similex. And it went viral. All my detractors and some opposition parties went around saying that he has received bribes, that's why he was fired. And they believed that they propagated this lie. And they said it everywhere. That is a perception. But in reality, it is false story. Because the National Assembly commissioned an investigation into the Similex saga, and I was not guilty of any corruption. The Gambia government investigated I was not guilty of receiving any bribes. And I still insist, anybody who think that I have anything to do with the Smilex saga, bring your evidence, bring it forward, or you close your mouth. So this is how corruption spreads. Allegations. I was accused of receiving bribes, and it's false. So this allegation of corruption can be misinterpreted by various ones. And I'm giving you my own particular example. That a lot of people have spread these sort of rumors. It's something similar to government as well.
Sorry to cut you. I am actually asking of the current government, and here you are giving a personal narrative of when you were there.
My personal narrative.
Obviously.
Yeah. Let me give an example. I understand. What I'm telling you is,
because every day there are reports, corruption reports, imagining on the media about the current government, and there is, I stand to be corrected, but there is nowhere that the president actually stands out to talk about most of these corruptions. That's why I am actually, I put up that question.
Thank you very much. I think I still understand your question. What I'm saying is that the perception of corruption can be misinterpreted. And that is why I brought my personal example when I was accused of receiving bribes by Smilex, and I still challenge anybody in the Gambia or anywhere else in the world. Please bring the evidence against me that I received bribes and get me prosecuted. Bring the facts. These are the examples I'm giving. So yes, there has been national audit reports, and what's your name again? Ali Jallo. I will say that every audit report should be taken seriously by the government. And I would urge the Gambia government to continue to take those audit reports seriously, and where there has been expressions of corruption, serious corruption and allegations by the relevant government institutions, they should be investigated. That is my position. Thank you.
Okay, sorry. I just want to make a follow-up question regarding where you were talking about the institutions and saying that the former president's institutions, like the former government's institutions, was destroyed. So can you just make this thing clear? Because considering the fact that since that government left, inflation is going high. There are more crimes than before, and there are many other problems that the country.
Excuse me. Yeah. Now you see, when we speak, particularly journalists, do not speak like average person in the street. You know why? Because you should back up your assertions with evidence. When you say inflation is going up, crime is going up, the latest statistics in terms of inflation regarding the Gambian economy, that is made by not the Gambia government, but our development partners, the World Bank, the IMF, the African Development Bank, is that inflation in the Gambia is in single digit, from double digit to single digit. Perhaps the only country with a single digit inflation within the ECOWAS region. So that is a record I cannot quarrel with, because it's not made by Gambia government, but by the World Bank, the IMF, the African Development Bank. They are saying that in fact inflation is going down in the Gambia. That is what the Gambia's development partners are saying. I am not an economist, but I cannot dispute them. So based on that evidence, I will disagree with you that inflation is going up. What I will tell you rather is that perhaps when they talk about these statistics, people may not feel it filters into their pockets. That may be the case. So people may feel that the evidence on the ground does not support the figures that are given by these development partners. But based on that evidence, the second part you're talking about is crime is going up. The Gambia government's position is it is the reporting of crime that is going up. But according to their statistics, crime is coming down. How? Because when there is one murder case, it is circulated hundreds of thousands of times in social media, making it look like there were multiple murders on that day. So that is their position. I am not in the position to give statistics because I'm not in government. I'm not the Minister of Interior. What I do know that there are serious concerns about personal safety and security issues. And I believe that the security situation is not very satisfactory. Much has to be done about it. And government needs a more concerted, collaborative, hands-on effort towards it. Thank you.
Okay. So now, I was still talking on what I was saying, because if you say that according to IMF, but I'm bringing this in our local, local demands. considering before and now, price of things are going expensive. And adding to that, the Gambia Ports Authority right now, like it is given to a private company, which is the Turkish company, and then the government of the Gambia is only generating 20% of whatever is being made there. So do you think that the government institutions is really trying? Because right now we have seen institutions like Gamtel, there are rumors, even though they are not true, but they might be privatized because like it was not functioning if you want to compare to other GSM operators in the Gambia. So if you want to tell me that the government institutions before, like now is better than before, how can you really convince me regarding all the current things that have been happening in the country?
Well, that is your perception, but I didn't say that. I didn't tell you institutions are better now than before. I didn't say that. In fact, it was one of the challenges I mentioned when I was asked by Jallo some of the issues facing this country. So that is your statement, not mine. It is you who said that. I never said that. And everybody listening to me heard what I said about the challenges. Among the challenges include institutional weakness and the need to strengthen them, because over 22 years of acute dictatorship, all of the institutions were politicized and destroyed. And so I indicated that it is now necessary to restore back to the institutions their mandate and to strengthen them, give them their regulatory and their statutory capabilities so they can serve the public as intended, as was designed. So if you say that I say something else, this is what I said. Whatever you're saying is different from what I said. And if you are writing news report, you are going to write what you said. That is what the people will hear, not what I said. So you see, this is how fake news is spread.
What is the meaning of all institutions were destroyed?
Last question.
Yes.
Last question.
Yes. Yes. Mr. Fati, lafta yemen kalamuta ko na patio ning president baro la patio alaita hani ko bari yalla mo mi la problème oti ne question o nyinin kam bula nga jabi okay bari nga la question o jabi foy man pare nga jabi bari nga jabi silanko bari ning ko meddi am lay ko be kuntula nyaato e woto ilafta men fula nalo ja yafo woto mbulante men be lori jangela ko mo jabi abanta say men bije wala nyinti ko na patio ning president baro la patio ngeta ndata alliance la o ma min ko ntenga sembo so ma sakunda nyanda tamala nyame kadu political party fula la ka nyoma ani man sakunda la tamandri nyama ke ku kilinti lafta iso kalamuta na party fula kafta nyoma ko dunia kono akake dawda dunia be kono nyamenna ko tumo menna ndol la patio nim party dol kafta nyamenna 2011 anin 2016 ni wolkata alliance nyame man sembe sodo ila patio la tamandri nya kono la nga sembo sodo men tawbulamu na hakilimirol danta damen ka kilinti kawo tamande nyobulu bari amamin ko sonda ko belela so lafta sinen kalamuta ko anin gambe dum mumé be surtout men yalon ko e be dalilo nyini kan e be politique nori o tamande la nyin ko kono nyame ko padi fulay ka kilinti woni kam masakunda mara e manke kilinti mantra masakunda kono masakunda place tem bulula ndun na patio manke masakunda patioti nim president barola NPP la kafta ndel be bantale be politiko le tamandika nyobulu mantra masakunda la police tamandika yemen be fo man sembe so do woto manke president le yamar la fanati ninna sita a manke na devoir o pour nga yamar banko kata manya o manke ndala do ko ala masakunda mala masakunda leti abota man la nyamen o be o nyamale ita fana memu banku dingoti ndini te be kanyanta president baro ya yamaro la le man sieti fenna be le kanyanta mam masakunda place mara ima mara mantra masakunda kono ima tara kono mu banku dingoleti si president baro ya marino ita fana si president baro ya marino ni bele kan tawoto thank you ñing alliance ko ñin tankundi ngamina e dewne de mbe alliance to ñala mbe alliance nim president baro be alliance la ha mbe wole la mo ndo jaabi la no ne wato sita otu mon salon be mu ne fala kumme manke ndebo jaabi la no nyaadi le nintu mo men na sotota otu mon salon be mu ne fala bari aman soto ndako mo jaabi la même man soto ndek fonyo ken so jaabi juma la be okela mi safari bari fana kumme manke no ko ngaw jaabi ni wato sita mbe jaabi ro soro bari ma soro folo kata manke anybody else? Well, so now we are going to draw the curtain down. We will draw the curtain down here. I thank all of you for coming, and we will continue this conversation. But I can assure you that it is very good that you came. We are very happy. We hosted this event because we have not had a press engagement for a very long time. And it is very important that, this time we should get back and engage with each other. I will make it abundantly clear. We are members of the alliance of the NPP, and we will continue to work together with them in order to promote the national development agenda of President Barrow, and we will continue to work with him. All those who believe that this is the way to go forward, let us work together. And all those who have a different opinion, it is protected by the Constitution for you to have a different opinion. But just like other people have their own opinion, protected by the Constitution, you have no right to condemn other people's opinion for holding those opinions. So each Gambian has your right to belong to where you want to belong politically. And if where you belong, people are not questioning why you are there, then you have no moral right to question why other people are elsewhere. This is what I want us to respect each other, positive politics and not toxicity. I have made my statements, and I take responsibility for my statements. They are my statements, and I own them, and I accept the consequences of the statements that I make at all places. I thank you very much for coming. Each of you will have copies of the statement that I made, so that you can do what you want to do with them. Thank you very much. Ngal tentu ngal jey soso kana nyofa bari nyofa nan kana soso fa ebe damen tuoto mbeda me la hajute oto ndefana ita fana mbeda men tuoto na hajute oto bari ebe damen dal hajute oto ndebe damen ko kele la hajoti hum hasidiyalati ali ngo politique fa bula ebe patio men to bula patio noma manke la pati lidati e manke na pati dingoti itan na patio la kol decide no le e fayye men ben na patio kon wala raso bari you are not a member of my party and you want to decide for my party. What kind of democracy is that? That is called ideological dictatorship. Alimbula for us to support ourselves. Ita fana be dame tuoto ni dankine ni ilate fanna e be dame tuoto nte be dame obula bari nte be dame ni kaw criticize wato wa muna natata ita membe jedu muna nte ma muna nete manta so alinga nyo horoma nganyo bunya iya moy momola ayala patio ala kordala ko bula abe wandi kordala ko kashala keba kuntango damane kawke suti kuntango suti o me ala ko kuntala amon kutute wala kala kordala ko tankundi abe lungono abe sularing wandi kordala ko kashala so itabe damen woto defana be damen bulawto hani ale wala fudino kono la lakum dinakum waliya din momo ni la dina o alindol bulambe damen ngatara woto ya khairi Allah ta sango jinla mol kanari fodu mol nyanda bula ato na mane noma al mol bula ko we are all free. Why should it be a problem where we go? Why should it be a problem for you who we ally with? It's our freedom. The Constitution gave us the same right that you have. So allow us to exercise our right. Please, for God's sake. Thank you.
Islamic microfinance is becoming an increasingly popular mechanism for poverty alleviation, especially for developing countries around the world. This microfinance service adheres to the principles of Islam as a form of social responsibility. Yona Islamic Microfinance is the Islamic microfinance of choice in the Gambia, trustworthy and reliable. At Yona Islamic Microfinance, we provide savings products, current accounts, financing products in conformity with Islam. In addition, Yona Islamic Microfinance also offers local and international remittances, Takaful Fund, management of Zakat, management of Awqaf, trading and investment, and building of strategic partnerships to bring financial services to the doorstep of the poor with donor projects, madrasas, youth organizations, women groups, and farmer organizations. Make a choice with Yona Islamic Microfinance today. For more information on Yona Islamic Microfinance, call 377-2151 or 9832-151 or visit Yona head office at Tipa Garage, Bakote, or visit any Yona branch located countrywide near you.